Let's please welcome in member of hockey's first family, the great Rich Sutter. I almost texted you the other day, Richie, because you became a celebrity all over again. I follow that gal that you were sitting behind at the Oiler game. That was quite a trip, eh? What's her name? Lisa? Lisa from the radio station there in Edmonton?
I don't know. My son Luke knows those people better than I do. He was on that told me he knew one or both of them or one or the other. But yeah, they were actually, he was pretty nice. The other guy was actually rather annoying. So
how about that?
Is what it is.
I get it. Oh, we gotta have a. I believe you, by the way, but I believe everything you say. I don't really know where to start, so I'll start with our poll question today, and you can take a swing at that, Richie. That is 13-year NHL veteran Rich Sutter with us. How has officiating affected the Stanley Cup playoffs? A lot, no more than normal, or very little? What would you say?
I'd say probably pretty much status quo, normal. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's things you got to fight through in the playoffs, and a lot of it is going to be a lot of adversity. And part of that adversity is dealing with some of the calls that either go your way or don't go your way, or you don't like or you do like. I just think that those guys are in tough spots too. Everything's happening so quick. I kind of did like the comment from someone the other day or yesterday about why aren't these guys being taken to task about being questioned about some of their calls, and what were their thought process, why they made the call or why they did make those calls. Yeah, you know, it's a great poll. It's a great question.
Yeah, I see. I don't like that. Tim Peel was with us last hour on the show, and they're all going to review now anyways, so why should the guy on the ice have to explain the call of the guys upstairs? That's my take on that. But for the benefit of all of our Oiler and Canuck... Sorry, go ahead. Pardon me?
What Tim think?
He thinks it's no more bad than any other year. Right? He didn't say whether it was good or bad. It's just, he goes, we go through the same stuff every single year. That's from Tim Peel. But Oilers are down 2-1 in this series to Vancouver. You've obviously seen them, had your naked eye on them. Why are they down 2-1 in this series, the Oilers?
Well, I think it's obvious the starting point is goaltending. A total, night and day difference between both teams. Look, I'm becoming a Stuart Skinner fan. He's goals. I mean, in both series, there's been goals that were questionable. You can't have those goals you're expected to win hockey games in the playoffs. And everyone, I got family that are huge Oiler fans on my wife's side, and they could not believe how dominating Edmonton was the other night, and all I want to talk about was the shots in net and how dominant the game was by one side. Well, quite frankly, I look at the game quite a bit differently, and I didn't see that at all. They had a lot of shots, yes, but where were they coming from? Where were the high danger chances coming from? Well, they normally come from inside what we call the house, and there wasn't many of those at all, especially the last 25, 26 minutes of the game. Look, I think it's a mental game for the Edmonton Oilers right now that they're losing, and I don't know how they think they're going to come out of it, honestly, because you got 6 guys that are watching a lot of hockey sitting on the bench watching. Yeah, they're not producing, but it's hard to produce. You got to keep going back to, well, at some point, hope they drink the water, but at some point, these guys are going to get frustrated too because they're sitting there watching. You cannot keep running out 29 and 97 for 27 to 30 minutes a night. I think you're going to succeed.
Did Vancouver play that way before they went down to their third-string goalie? And I ask because Tampa Bay played that way when they didn't have their Russian goalie, Vasilevsky, till December 1st. Exactly what you're talking about. They limited those shots from where they were coming from. Did Vancouver change that because Demko's out?
No.
Or were they playing that way all year?
No. Rick Talk has kept structure in place. The best thing could happen in that organization was him getting a test run at it last year. knowing what he had, how things were going to be put in place, what were the expectations from day one in training camp last September. He's put that in place along with a really good coaching staff. They know what to expect, and they know what's expected of them as players individually in their roles, how they are to play and to play within structure. And I don't know that this team has done a resounding, has had resounding success on how they've been able to manage that all year. And there's always more to give. Look, Talk has even told me himself, look, there's some guys here, there's definitely more to give from some of these guys, and he expects it. And good leadership core in that room. They expect more of each other. Do I expect more at Edmonton tonight? But I also expect Vancouver to be ready.
Wow. Well, I guess Edmonton hasn't really changed a whole lot from what they were in the regular season. I haven't watched Vancouver that much. I'm a little amazed at how good they are. But I guess they're this good.
Well, you know, Rod, Edmonton hasn't changed a lot what they've done in the last 2-3 years, quite frankly. They miss Adam Henrique. I think Adam Henrique's the guy's been to Cup finals. He knows what it takes. He's a warrior. You know, he's a guy that they traded for that's probably not going to be in the lineup again tonight. They miss guys like that solidify, I wouldn't say necessarily your top six, but your middle six group that can add more to your depth, your roster up front. They're not getting that. But with Vancouver, no, I'm not surprised at all what they're doing, what they're accomplishing at all.
I'm glad we got the time with you. Bruins, Panthers. But listen, I'm pulling for the Panthers. I live here, but I will say Boston's getting screwed. They are. Like, they have a reason to be upset. Is it too late, do you think, for them to come back, or what's your read on this series? Well,
if Brad Marchand's not playing tonight, it's probably going to be too late. But, you know, I hate to use this term, but, you know, karma's a bitch. There's been a lot of pissing and moaning in the Boston area for the last 2-3 days about what happened to Brad Marchand. Well, do you know what? And they have a right to complain about that. But do you know what? How many times have we talked about this, about Brad Marchand? How many times as a Boston fan, you cannot not admit that the things that he's done over his career, a lot like Sam Bennett. Can you imagine having Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand playing together on one team? You drive freaking out teams nuts. I mean, Sam Bennett is doesn't play the game much differently than Brad Marchand. Sam Bennett is a willing participant as well. Will back it up. Will drop his gloves. He will play one way. Sam Bennett is built for the playoffs and built to win Stanley Cups with. He's that type of guy. I tried to say that 3 or 4 years ago with my former employer, and they thought I was crazy. Well, guess what? Look where Sam Bennett's at.
Please agree with me that Sam Bennett doesn't need to fight Patrick Maroon, because Maroon came out after Game 4 and goes, I'm trying to fight him. I'd like to stand up for my team and my captain. And I'm going, why would he fight you? It would be stupid for Sam Bennett to fight you now. Maybe next year. I don't think he needs to answer for it right now.
Well, Sam Bennett's not going to waste his time. Like Sam Bennett, first of all, he's playing with a hand injury. He's playing to win. Sam Bennett is a top 6 forward in that group. I love Maroon, but Pat Maroon is not a top 6 forward. He's a 4th line at best. And you know what? So why would you waste your time with him?
Couldn't agree more. Thank you. And I know you love the coaching talk. So I guess Berube's interviewing with the Jets today. The Leafs have talked to Berube and Todd McClellan. New Jersey's in the mix. LA's looking for a coach. How do you expect this to end? You got any insight for us?
Well, it sounds like that Sheldon Keefe might have the inside track in New Jersey as of today or this morning. Him, like Craig, can basically pick their spots. I think Sheldon Keefe, first of all, is a terrific person, but also a better coach, and he will land somewhere very comfortably very soon, as will Craig. I know he's in Winnipeg today. That's awesome. There is some relationship there with some of the people in Winnipeg. So do you know what? I believe that Craig's going to pick his spot too. But the nice thing about it, would it be nice to have a job with not a coach that doesn't have a job today, that knows he's going to have one pretty quickly, just a matter of where and whenever it happens, and who he ends up with. And both those guys will land on their feet very well, as will Todd, if Todd can find a spot too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. You explain something about coaches to our audience. You'd like to think they learn along the line. Travis Green's a great example. You think he hasn't learned from his time in Vancouver and New Jersey? He's got to be a better coach now, I would think. Ottawa's getting a good one.
I think everyone learns. If you don't learn, you're out pretty quick, and you're out without any success. These guys have all had a degree of success, with Craig winning a cup. Look, all learned along the way that, especially in today's age, you're stroking 23 to 25 different egos on a daily basis. It's also part of the babysitting process as well. And you got to have a strong staff around you. But the biggest thing at the end of the day, it's not always about your staff. It's about you as the head guy, and how do you communicate with this group, collectively and individually. I think the guys that have some personalities that are willing to do that and take a sincere interest in not just you, the player, but more importantly, the person and you and your family, those are the guys that get a longer rope in that locker room. Those are the guys that the locker room learns to trust better. And I think some of these guys have started to figure that out. And it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, coaching the National Hockey League is a very, very tough gig. And like I said, you're dealing with a lot of different egos, a lot of personalities. Every day is a moving target. Something always going on every day. And it's a tough job. And those guys who get those jobs, hats off to them, and good luck to all of them.
Couldn't agree more. Mandy in Edmonton says, Sutter is a straight shooter. You've been called worse, right, Richie? Been called worse than that.
Yep.
And
yep, for sure.
I was looking up. Actually, Clark looked this up. Craig Berube's from, correct me if I'm wrong, Calahoo, Alberta. Don't believe I've ever been
Just
through
west
there.
of Edmonton.
Where is?
Just west.
Is
just
it?
West of Edmonton.
Okay.
Yep. Not any bigger than Viking hometown, but Craig was a hell of a ball player too, growing up. A fastball pitcher. He was a good athlete, and for him to have the degree of success that he's had in the NHL, I look at guys like, him and Talk played together in Philly. Who would have thought 35 years ago, these two guys, or 30 years ago, these guys are going to be successful National Hockey League coaches? Well, the reason why they are is because, number one, they're great people. They're good personalities, but they're even better communicators, and they know how to play the game. And they played it a little bit old school, but they also understand the value of skill and how good these guys are today, and how important they are to you in your lineup, and that you must win with those type of guys in your lineup.
Okay, look at those guys from those medicine hat teams of the 80s. What they've all gone on to, right? That says something about what they had going on there in the Smarty Box. Okay, Rich, always fun. Enjoy the hockey. Let's do it again soon.
Okay, Rod, thank you. Have a great day in South Beach, Florida, and may the Panthers rise tonight.
Exact. Thank you. Wow. Time to hunt. Rich Sutter with us, member of hockey's first family.